Well, it's the easiest type game to analyze when you have one of your students playing another one of your students. So it's kind of bonus content for both players. And we start off with a bit of English, and then we see e6, knight c3, d5, and it transposes into a Queen's Gambit decline exchange variation if black plays knight f6 here. And there's another option in the position which is worth considering with bishop e7. And what do you do there?
I can try to same position
Okay, queen c2 is reasonable. Stops the bishop f5 stuff. Bishop f4 is another idea. And that way they've gotten you to commit your bishop, then they develop the knight so you can't get, your typical Carlsbad structure. And then after e3, bishop f5, I know there's some lines with like bishop e2, and when they castle, you play g4, h4, and just kind of go all out. Those are kind of fun lines to play with white. But he played knight f6, so we get to the main structure. And bishop e7, I mean, he did play most accurately here because if you don't know the trap, you definitely should. This pawn is not free. So even though it looks like you're hanging the queen, that check is very strong, and then you end up in the doo-doo if you're playing white. So don't end up in the doo-doo. So after knight b d7, e3, simple enough. Bishop e7 is fine. Bishop d3, good placement. And he forgot his lines, is what happened. Because c6, and then what would you play here? There's a number of different options.
c6, either 92, queen c2, or f3.
92, queen c2, or f3. It's funny because last year when we did a game, I had this exact position with black against Wesley So. And he actually plays the knight h5 line himself when he has black. So that's the So move, where you keep your queen on d1 to watch h5, and then that's when I did the alternate plan with knight f8, knight e6, g6, knight g7 to try to trade the bishop off that way, arrows. So that's a reasonable game because all the other moves, you're not controlling the h5 square anymore.
Oh, yeah.
See what I'm saying? Yeah, that's why it's a very nice move. And I'd seen in his Queen's Gambit games that he'd done it enough times. I was lucky to get preparation against him, even though I got my butt handed to me anyway. I didn't like lose out of the opening or anything versus one of the best players in the world. So that always feels nice. But when he castled, shows he forgot his prep here. Another announcement. G2. And B6 seems reasonable. Castles. And definitely, because these openings are structurally oriented, and you need to know when you're being inflexible. It's clear black's counterplay comes with c5. So playing rook c8, it is an inaccuracy for multiple reasons. You didn't need it. That rook may need to go somewhere else once the pawn structure changed. I don't know, after c5, if dc, bc, maybe the rook wants to go to b8. So you're going to have to waste time. Plus, there are too many ideas where that rook is going to be a liability. So much better is the immediate c5. And I'm just following the Lee chess notes here that I haven't looked at. So bishop f5, and remember before we started the recording, I mentioned that as an idea, because if the rook goes to c8, that can be an annoying pin. And notice how white just has easy development and slow pressure here. a6, bishop g3, And it's just some waiting around. And white definitely has, just a booger's worth. So coming back to the main game with rook c8. Here, I know you were following along with the dogmatic plan of trying to play for e4, but I would say it's a bit different here to play for e4 because of the bishop on b7, knight on e4, and pawn on d5. It's still a plan, but I would potentially be more apt to consider. I want something on f5, so I consider knight g3 here with the idea of going knight f5 and just attempting to be a bit annoying. But of course, there is a tactical shot for white here with knight b5, tickling the a pawn, and we have this knight a7, which will net the bishop pair, and that is a concrete advantage for white that you need to watch out for. So after rook c8, f3 was played. So it was around the time that both of you definitely were out of preparation. That's when we started seeing some inaccuracies. And that happens in a lot of games because it's the first time in the game you're actually thinking. c5. The bishop's coming around to be able to hold on to the e and d pawns as stuff is going to happen. Well, action's going to happen on the e file, so he goes there. Sensible. And here he should probably make a commitment decision, because what he did in the game, he started wasting a bit of time, and I think this is where black started gradually going off the rails. Because if you're not going to take on d4, and I'm, with black, definitely not going to take on d4, c4 should definitely be a move that's considered. Then after bishop f5, you get this kind of pressure, but both sides get what they want. You're going to get your central mass, and you're going to press onward, and black's going to be playing to be pressing to try to make the b and c pawn count the future. And this would be more critical than the main game continuation. So with bishop d6, you put the rook on e1. Maybe it's supposed to go on d1. I'm not sure. But I know we're a number of moves away from anything happening with the e-pawn. So queen c7, and already, as soon as you defend the h-pawn, knight b5 is crying to be played because it's an open position and you get the purr. You want the purr. So you simply play knight g3, and that's a move you kind of needed anyway. Even if he tries something like a6 and then h5, I mean, your knight goes to f1 and holds the h2 pawn. You're just completely solid with white, a good position. And that's why I said on move 13, bishop d6, that's where black started to go wrong, because then it's the stutter step and then a non-existent plan, which is encouraging white, which goes back to the thinking process in general we've talked about time and again. What does my opponent want? You want to play against their plan, not for it. c4, in the very least, I'm getting something going too, so I think that was critical. So rook e7 was played, and black completely missed the threat that the bishop is good, the queen's definitely good, a6 needed to be played, and after knight b5, it's going to be a mop-up job. So after queen b8, tactics, takes, gotcha, and this is where your opponent regrets life decisions. Check. And I wanted to make sure for the rest of the game we got good technique. So it's like our main focus. We're up the exchange. We have the bishop pair. Bishops are better in open position, so we need to try to open it up. We need to try to get, no matter what, it's like open it up for our bishops and our rooks at this point. So get the open files and basically eliminate the knights. When you kill the knights, there's no tactics. In any endgame, your rook is going to dominate the remaining bishop. That's it. So let's see what you did. He goes c4. He's trying to lock it down. Good form. So you go bishop f5, pin. I'm going to insist on trading. b5. It's got to do something. G6 was definitely more accurate before trying b5 because bishop h4 was strong. You're guaranteeing that you're going to mess up his position even more. Very nice play. So queen d6, we clip. He's got to take back with a pawn. And because the pin isn't going anywhere, I'm inclined to agree with the engine here that e4 is stronger. But I definitely understand the point that bishop takes d7, you're probably winning no matter what. But from a technique standpoint, e4 is definitely stronger. And you find the right plan. And this is hope chess at this point for black. You just have too much. Rook e3 is good. Defending and attacking at the same time. Best type of chess. After queen g5. Tickle, tickle. Shutting down the b from ever looking at our king again and hitting the a7 pawn with our queen. Lots of threats. I think I'd also consider rook f1 here to try to get the queen off the board because it's the only thing that could bother us. But yeah, queen takes a7. Tickle on the bishop. And then you're just in good shape because you're hitting the rook. Rook can't take the pawn because of mate threats. So all he can really do is vacate the file and you netted 2 pawns. So it's good calculation. After bishop a6, rook f1, you have full harmony. Everybody's involved in the attack. His bishop is a pawn. Like it's just, so it's completely out of the game. So he's got to do something to try to get counterplay. I can't really fault him there. Never stop trying. After rook g8, still hoping for cheapos. Would you? He's like, protect your rook with rook f1. You're like, nah, that's okay. Check. And good move. Yeah, right. Clap. That's right. So then queen d3. Checkmate is now unavoidable.
I missed mate.
You missed mate in 3? Yeah, he's got to take there. So queen d3, queen f8. Yeah. What should you have done? Yeah. That would have been much cleaner and GG, but a win's a win. I mean, sometimes taking the bishop is good enough and they just resign, so it's even faster than playing the most accurate move. I love when that happens. When it's like you sit there thinking, it's like if I take the exchange, will he resign immediately or make me play 5 more moves to mate him where I don't have to think? Or should I play the best move that wins in 3 moves? There's got to be a chess meme about that somewhere. Definitely link in the comments if you find it because, I mean, all the chess players in the world, we do that crap. And also, if you find another meme, I've been trying to find a chess meme about this, that as soon as you make your move and let go, you see exactly what you should have done because you've released the tension. That crap happens so much, especially in tournaments when you're tense the entire time. As soon as you let go of the piece, you're like, yep, 100% I should have done that. That's because you're playing too tense. Keep that in mind. Little tidbit morsel extra at the end of the lesson there for you.